Welcome back to Martin Sim Racing for round 6 of the Gran Turismo World Series. Don't change that dial. Don't skip ahead because I got a special phone call from a special person right before this race, and it really got me fired up for this race. Let me let you guys hear this phone call. Hello, this is Martin Sim Racing headquarters.
Hello, this is Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen? Man, I can't believe you're calling. Are you one of my viewers?
Yes, I make sure to always watch Martin Sim Racing videos.
Well, hey, Max. What's up, man? How'd you get this number? What's going on?
Never mind how I got the number, but what I want to let you know is you must concentrate hard and be focused on the process and not the goal to make sure you win these races. We are pulling for you all the way, Martin Sim Racing, and you must work hard to get your A+ rating. Now, good luck in today's race.
Well, thanks, Max. I really appreciate it, and I'll definitely do my best and keep your advice in mind. See you later.
Good luck. See you soon, Martin Sim Racing.
Wow, I can't believe my favorite Formula One driver called me. That's just amazing. That makes me even fired up for this race. But look, this is a good time to remind you, be like Max V and subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button so we can keep growing and making content. Okay, let's get into it. Before we get started, I got a couple highlights to show you from 2 weeks ago at Laguna Seca. If you'll remember, there was a pit maneuver pulled on us and another driver by a certain someone in that race. Now let's get a look at that. Okay guys, these are the results after qualifying, and you'll look in first place, and that's right, Martin Sim Racing has taken pole position, and I was 2.7 seconds ahead of the nearest competitor in the field. You look down in 7th place and you'll see our friend that tried to pull the pit maneuver on us. So the strategy there is just stay away from him, keep our distance, and don't get tied up in anything. I'm not the kind of driver who's going to go out and try to ruin somebody's race, but if they do something to me that is obviously on purpose, then I am going to retaliate. I'm not going to put up with it. It's just like in baseball, when a pitcher hits your guy, then you got to hit one of their guys. You got to police yourself on that kind of stuff because the game's not going to do a great job in this situation. But starting off here in pole position, going for the win, obviously, and being 2.7 seconds faster than everybody, you got to feel good. So we're going to start off on these medium tires, and then we're going to switch to the hard tires on the end of the 4th lap. Now, here's the risk with this car. This car, I promise you, is 100% faster than probably maybe even any other car in the game in a straight line. It's just from what I've seen, especially after the latest update. But when the tires go bad, when things get sensitive, when you have to be perfect with the car to control it, you have to be perfect. You have to be careful, and it will tend to slow you down. So the medium tires and the soft tires are great, but when we put those hard tires on, we are running some risk. So we need to have a big lead by the time we get to that 4th lap, so that when we're driving more careful with the hard tires, people can't catch up. So we need to expand that lead as much as possible early on. And I can tell you, by the end of this first lap, we're going to build up a lead that's around 2 seconds to 3 seconds ahead of the next place driver in second. Now this track is St. Croix. It's a made-up track, supposedly set in France, in French countryside. But I really enjoy this track. It's long, this version of it. This is the C version of it. There are other versions we've done videos in the past that aren't as long, but do utilize parts of the track. But this was probably my first time really spending a lot of time racing on the C version. But I did quite enjoy it. It took some time to learn it, but it was fun. But there are places on this track that just lull you to sleep, and then you just kind of forget what to do, or you just kind of not thinking. And if you're like me and you have a little ADHD, it's kind of like, you done messed up and running the grass before you know it. So that's something we got to look out for, because we are running really good, and we're obviously faster than everybody else. Our car's fast, we're fast. Everybody we're paired against. We're not in the Group 4 Mustang this week. We're in these Group 3 cars, and Ford is pretty dang good on Group 3 cars, in my opinion. Now, right here coming up is one of the most critical turns in the entire track. Not that turn, but this next little section right here, because you got a long straight, and like I said, this car boogies in the straights, man. It really gets after it. You want to get right up close to that wall and then punch it right there. Right before I said punch it, that's when you want to punch it. And you want to be full blast coming out of there. And this car will reach up to 172, 173 miles per hour. And if you hit it just right, you can get there really quick You can gain a lot of time. You can watch the time in the you can't see it, but when you're racing you can see it. You're just climbing. I mean, in this car you're just climbing. You're just building that gap bigger and bigger and bigger on the straight, because those other cars just cannot keep up. And that's the situation where choosing Ford for a manufacturer of Group 3 cars, now that they've updated the game with the mid-engine cars, I mean, it's great. I mean, Ford is in the game every week, I feel like, with the Group 3 cars. And right here, coming up this curve right here, gives me so much trouble. It doesn't look like anything, but there's so many times where you're just kind of like, oh, I didn't slow down enough, and it's too late. You're in the grass, you're in the wall. When that new damage model, that is critical. You hit that wall and your car is slowing down and people are catching up. And it may just be me, but I just have a lot of trouble in that turn right there. I have a ton of trouble with it. I mean, I kind of call it ADHD corner, you know, because it's just something about it. And I have seen some other guys talk about it, but there's just something about that turn. So here by the end of lap 1, we've got like a 2 to 3 second lead already, which is just awesome. And then we're going to fast forward here to the end of lap 4. And by the end of lap 4, I'm putting up about a 10-second lead on the next place guy. But the second place guy, our friend from 2 weeks ago who gave us the little pit maneuver, he was in second place. He had climbed all the way from 7th to 2nd. You got to give the guy credit. He don't give up. He's relentless, and he is fast. I don't know what happened to him in qualifying, but he found his way up to second place. So when we come out of the pits, I've got the hard tires on, and this is where things get squirrely. I can feel it. The car is so unstable, and I'm so concerned, and I'm just like, I'm turning my traction control up. I've been racing with it on 0. I'm turning it up, and I'm just trying to stay ahead of, you know, Fat Boy and the guy from 2 weeks ago, because, you know, I don't want them anywhere around me, and I've still got about an 7 to 8 second lead on them right now, even after the pit stop, because I think Fat Boy pitted on lap 3. But even with that lead, I've only got 3 laps to go basically, and it's just these hard tires with this car. I do feel like this car is much worse on hard tires than the Mustang Group 3 car would have been. And at this point in time, I'm thinking, well, you know, I'm so much faster than everybody. Maybe I should have went with that Mustang. Or maybe I should have went with the other Ford GT, the 2018 version. But there's no going back. We just got to move forward with this Ford GT LM Spec 2 race car. And I mean, I'm doing pretty good. I feel pretty good about it right now. I did turn the traction control up, like I said, with these hard tires, and everything's going pretty good. You know, the lead is about 7 to 8 seconds, like I said, and I'm thinking just get through it, just calmly drive the next 3 laps, will be like 2.5 laps now, and make it to the end. I'm planning out my YouTube video. I'm planning out my celebration. Man, I'm thinking that maybe even Coach Saban's going to call me. You know, this is awesome. I mean, I shouldn't be in the B leagues anymore. You know, I'm so much better than these guys. You know, letting all this arrogance come into my thought process. It's just, you know, instead of being focused on what I'm doing, well, how dangerous is that? Especially with these hard tires and this Ford LM race car, because she's got so much power, and it's not getting transferred great with those hard tires. Get a little dirty coming out of that section. That's an indication there, you know, where things are a little testy. So gonna try to get right up to the wall, get the power coming early, but you know, we got to be a little different. The other problem is, and I've got to learn when I'm in the B leagues before I get up there with the real big boys, is you got to practice on all the different tires that you're going to be using. You can't just use the softest one and get hung up on trying to climb that practice leaderboard that means absolutely nothing, except for it means that, hey, this is kind of where I'm at. But all that matters is, what are you going to do in qualifying on race day, and how are you going to race on all the different tires during the race. So I should have spent a lot more time driving this car with the hard tires, I can tell you that. Now coming up is the section that I've been warning you guys about. My ADHD's kicking in, and I'm thinking about my YouTube video. And you know, this section, I gotta make it through it somehow. And we go just a little wide. No! Off the road, in the grass. Please, God, get it back on the track and straighten it out. Do not let me wreck. Do not let me wreck. Bam! Hit the other wall. Now we're taking damage. Look at the meter down there blinking around, and I'm watching the time, man. It's going 7, 6, 5, 4. Oh, you got to be kidding me. And the car's all over the road. The damage is severe. Let's go back and look and see what happened. This is crazy. Okay, we're going around the track. We're coming around that lullaby curve, ADHD curve, and I go just a little wide, man, and I can't get it slowed down. The hard tires won't grip, and we go off in the grass. And that's all she wrote. And then at this point, I'm thinking, just hit the wall sideways so you can get back on the track. And I do, but the new damage model just slows me down to a crawl. And that timer's ticking down, down, down. And it gets down to 2 seconds. And I'm like, no, 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 go, go, go. And the car won't go because it's taking so much damage. We're picking it up back right here. And he's barreling down on me, man. I can feel him breathing down my neck. And I can feel him laughing at me from 2 weeks ago, you know. And I'm just like, no, please, nobody but him, please. We come around that last curve. And that Ferrari is right there, man. And there he goes, first place. And I'm like, oh, my God, you got to be kidding me. Now I got to fight for it. Now it ain't going to be an easy night. And so at the end of this straightaway, my Ford is just rolling right over him. And it's just so much faster. But I remember last week when I bumped the guy. And I thought, you got to do better. And so I back off and so I don't run into him and bump him. And when I broke a little early for that turn, Fat Boy ran in my back end. But, you know, nothing he could do about it. It probably was my fault, you know, there in that situation. But now he's in third, I'm in second, and our friend from 2 weeks ago is in first. And, you know, if I wish somebody else would have took first in front of me and not this guy. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hold a grudge forever, but, God, it would have been great to beat him. It would have been great to beat him, you know, but we got to fight for it now. So we're just trying to stay up. And I will tell you, he's on hard tires as well. But I'm telling you, this car, I just did not realize how bad it is with the hard tires. I'm not just blaming the car. I mean, it's the driver too. I mean, I go wide right here, but I'm telling you, it's just so much different. And there I give up another position. Now I'm in third place. You know, this whole time, I'm the faster driver. And I was the faster driver this week at this track. There's just no doubt about it. And I have more confidence now seeing how much faster I was than everybody else. But it doesn't matter, man. What matters is winning. Winning is what matters. And I want to win. I don't want to come in third place. I want to win. I want to get as many wins as I can get. And that's the attitude you got to have. You can't settle for third place. And so I've only got one more lap once this one's over with to get back to first place. And it just seems he's getting further and further away. And my driving is just erratic. And you can see the hard tires are taking some wear. I mean, the car is just unstable with the hard tires on it. If I would have drove more practice laps with this car, with these hard tires on it, I wouldn't have used the car. I don't think I'd have used it. I really don't think I would have. I got, you know, to dreaming about that leaderboard, that practice leaderboard, which was a joke. I mean, who cares about that? Drive the best you can. Drive what's best for you. Now, I like the car. I'll probably use it again at some point, but it's going to take more practice with the hard tires before I get back in this car. Because, I mean, at this point, they're just getting further and further away, and I'm nervous. I'm nervous that if I wreck again, then I'm going to drop all the way to 6th and 7th and 8th place. I don't really feel like driving 7 long laps around this track again for another race. I'm just mentally, it's gotten to me. Losing these positions has gotten in my mind. It still stings after the race. But can we come back? You know, it's not over with. It's lap 6, and you can see me gaining on Fat Boy because I'm in this Ford GT. This is where it shines, and this is my chance. Gaining, get closer. So I'm getting closer enough here to where I'm within striking distance, and maybe the ADHD turn here will mess them up as well. But let's don't let it happen to us twice. So we're going to have to slow down an extra amount, you know, to make sure we don't run off the road again. Because I'm telling you, that ain't the first time I've wiped out in that turn. I mean, in practice, if I wiped out, it was on that turn almost every single time. I think there's a little hill you come up over, and then it's turning back to the right, and it just throws the car all kind of weird ways. And you got, if you hit it just right, you can be real fast through there. But you can't. You've got to be focused. You got to be concentrating. And I'm just not, you know, I'm not doing right. I've got to get better. I've got to get better at practicing the entire race and practicing with all the different tires. So, you know, it really cost me. But you can see right here's another straightaway. It's another opportunity to get really close. You know, and I'm coming across the line on lap 6, so I've got 1 lap left to do it. But you got to remember, this is a long track. It's a 3-minute and 30-something second with these tires lap. And so there's plenty of time still, and plenty of turns, and plenty of places where they can mess up, and we're still right there. I mean, we're not too far back. And I'm getting real close to Fat Boy in the Genesis. But we got another straightaway right here, another opportunity to gain some ground in the Ford GT. And so that's what it's all about, is just not giving up and hanging in there, because I know this guy from Laguna Seca. I remember him running off the track several times, losing time, and we go for the move on the inside here to take 2nd place, and then Fat Boy takes it right back, the old switcheroo. But you can see it's neck and neck for that second place. And then I'm thinking I can go for it again here, but if I do that, I'm going to slow him down and he's going to slow me down, and the Ferrari's just going to get further and further away. And I want it all. I don't want second place, I want first place. So I'm thinking just back off, wait for the straightaway. Maybe we can hang close to him, but he's driving good. You got to give it to him. He's driving good, he's driving hard, he's driving under pressure, and he's driving fast. He's good, he's good. And you know, my thinking was if we can get close enough, when we get to the long straight, I got a chance to overtake him and get not just second but first place. But we got to get a little closer. As you can see, he's lost a little time on these last few turns, so there's still a chance for Martin Sim Racing to come back and win this race. But to have to come back and win it after such a dominating performance is terrible. It's just awful. I mean, it just feels bad. That's the kind of feeling you don't want to feel, and that's what makes you work harder to get better, so you don't have to feel those feelings. But you know, you got to finish the race. Races aren't just half races; they're whole races. You got to finish the race. And right up here is going to be our chance. If we can get up here and have it close enough, we can gain half a second, maybe even a second or two, or second and a half on these cars, depending on how good we come out of this turn, this critical turn I talked about earlier in the video. So right here's a critical turn. We need to hit this just right and hope that they don't, and maybe gain on both of them and take first place before the end of this race coming up. So hit it right here, punch it, coming good out of this turn, but looks like they got a good come out of that turn too. So, you know, we're not able to gain as great as I was hoping for, but you can see we are getting closer and closer to Fat Boy. But that Ferrari he's way up there. I mean, he's a few seconds ahead. So we need him to wipe out. At this point, I'm thinking, please let him wipe out and let me wave to him as I go around. So will it happen? Stay tuned to find out. As we're coming down to the end of the race here, we get really close to Fat Boy, and we lose. We get a little squirrely, man. I mean, the hard tires are so terrible. I'm almost did a 360 right there. I had no trouble with that turn the whole time, and I almost did a 360 right there. So at this point, it's done. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you. I mean, please, you know, keep watching the video to the end. But it's over with for me and thinking about winning it. The hard tires they've won. I'll give them the win. And the thing about it is now it's just finish the race and get on the podium. Let's don't screw up the podium, because we done screwed up the win. Let's don't screw up the podium. And you can tell I'm really frustrated by it, because I really, really am. This was a very frustrating race. This is awful. So I mean, now you got to make it around one more turn. Can he even do it? I mean, that's what the excitement is, to see if I wipe out here with these hard tires on. No, I don't. So I'm going to get third place. Let me tell you something. This is the absolute worst third place that I have ever gotten since I started playing this game. I would rather have finished last. This is the worst podium. I didn't even drink the champagne when they tried to give it to me. I just threw it to the fans and let them drink it, because I don't even want none of it. I don't deserve it. I should have been on the podium. I should have had a gold medal. This is such a choke job by Martin Sim Racing. It's awful. And to lose to someone who done you wrong 2 weeks ago. It don't get much worse. I'm telling you, it's bad times here at Martin Sim Racing headquarters. But we're going to come back next week, and we're going to try to win next week. That's all we can do. We're at the Dragon Trail track or whatever. I know that track really well. I feel confident about it. The Group 4 Mustang's probably not going to be the best car at that track, but it's not going to be bad at that track. I think we'll be okay, especially if we can be a lot faster like we were this week. That Mustang is a lot more stable than this car. You know, I'm not blaming the car, but with the hard tires, man, I should have known. I should have calculated that into choosing what to drive for this week. You know, but my thinking is I need to get good at driving the fastest cars, so that when I get to A+, I'm not afraid of those cars. Because when I get to A+, I don't want to be just happy middle of the pack or 10th place. I want to win there too. I mean, my goal is to win. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm sorry the result wasn't what we've been seeing. It wasn't what we wanted to see. You know, we almost had a win there and just couldn't quite pull it through. We had to mess up. Everybody makes mistakes, but we got to do better. And I really appreciate y'all's support. If you've watched this whole video, please hit the like button and please hit the subscribe button to follow my progress as I make my way all the way to A+. We're halfway on the B chart, halfway. So, you know, we're only racing 1-2 races a week. That's kind of my strategy, is to just practice a lot and race those races and be really good at those races. Just make sure we have good top 5 finishes every week. And that seems to be working. So we're going to continue our hard work, keep pressing forward and making our move. I appreciate it, and y'all have a good week. Talk to you later.